let's go ahead and title this page Using Lewis dot structures. Some people call them structures, some people call them diagrams. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So the first thing that I would make note of, make it really clear in your notebook, is all atoms want a full outer shell. That might still sound like Japanese or some other foreign language to you at this point, but let's kind of discuss that. You might have heard it called the octet rule. Octet, O-C-T-E-T rule. And basically it's saying the same thing. All atoms want a full outer shell. The octet, how many arms does an octopus have? 8. So 8 on the outside is where that octet rule might, another way to say that. What is our exception? Yesterday we talked about an exception. What is that exception? Okay. Remember, helium is an exception. Alright, now you are probably thinking, oops, that's not, probably thinking, well, yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Or at least I hope that's what you're thinking, is that we talked about that yesterday. But today, we're going to add to this. Today, we're going to add to this atoms form bonds to pair up, I'm going to put this in quotes, lonely electrons. I mean, they're not people, they don't have feelings, but when we say lonely, we know that they're not already paired up. Okay? So, I'm going to kind of show this as a demonstration really quickly. I've got some cards here, and we'll think a little bit about some different elements. So think about yesterday. Think about what we talked about. What element is that? Hydrogen, right? What family or group, what column is hydrogen in? 1. Okay, so how many valence electrons does hydrogen have? 1. So we draw our Lewis structure like that. Because we have 2 seats on the side, 2 seats on the bottom, 2 seats on this side, and 2 seats over here. But hydrogen only has 1. So if we move over, let's pick, so what about this element? What is the name of this element? And remember from yesterday, we look at that, pull out that periodic table if you don't remember. It's beryllium. It's number 4. So, how many valence electrons does beryllium have? Two, right. If we look at the periodic table, we can see hydrogen is in group 1, beryllium is in group 2. So the second column has 2 valence electrons. 1, 2. All right, so that's drawing Lewis dot structures. What we notice when we draw a few more Lewis dot structures, I'm going to pick up the card there, we start to see For instance, if we look at nitrogen, let's look at nitrogen. We can see that sometimes, like nitrogen has 5 valence electrons. So when you put 5, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we get a double up here. These electrons right here are paired up already. They already have a buddy. But these electrons are what we're going to call lonely electrons. They don't have a buddy, and they would love to have a buddy. You guys like it when you can introduce new friends and then they become buddies? Okay, maybe that's an elementary school thing, I don't know. But essentially, that is what happens with these electrons, okay? So if we have a nitrogen and a nitrogen, okay, these lonely electrons would become buddies, and these lonely electrons would become buddies, and then these lonely electrons over here. So your bonds, if we go back to our notebook, we'll go ahead and try to keep this on the screen and show the notebook too. So push that forward a little. If we're looking at these two Lewis structures, I don't know if it'll fit. Maybe we'll just pull these guys back onto the notebook. We're going to draw these two Lewis structures. We're going to say, okay, nitrogen has 5 valence electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll draw it just like it shows on there. We have 2 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this lonely electron is going to make a bond. This lonely electron can make a bond, and then this lonely electron can make a bond. How many lines are between those two nitrogens right there? I'll zoom in. 3. So if I were going to rewrite it to make it look a little bit neater, I would keep my paired electrons, make 3 lines, and then I have my other nitrogen. Oops, you can't see that. Okay, so we do this so we can understand where the lonely electrons make bonds, where those become pairs. Okay, but then we draw it this way so that it's neater on the page, because all these lines get kind of messy. Okay. So let's look at another set, and we'll just kind of keep it in the notebook. I think that'll work better. Let's look at oxygen. How many lonely electrons does oxygen have? It has 2. So this guy right here is lonely, and this guy right here is lonely. These have a buddy. These are called paired electrons, okay, but these are lonely. So if I have, let's do magnesium, that'll work. We look at magnesium. How many valence electrons does magnesium have? Find it on the periodic table. 2, right? So if I bring magnesium to the table, how many lonely electrons does magnesium have? 2, because remember we spread them out when we start out writing them. So these electrons right here are going to become buddies. That's too many fingers in the screen. These electrons here and these electrons here. This electron is going to fill up oxygen's table. And so oxygen will have a full octet, and magnesium's first circle will be full. These extra ones, these extra valence electrons, will have gone over to oxygen to make that bond, to make a buddy. Okay, so let's write that in our notebook so that we can make it bigger. So if we're going to write that, we're going to have magnesium has its 2 lonely electrons. Oxygen has 6. The other part is if you keep repeating these over and over again, then you're going to memorize some of them. And so that's going to be really important too. Going to have a bond with this lonely electron and this lonely electron. And then we will rewrite it. How many lines go between magnesium and oxygen? 2. So we're going to say magnesium, 2 lines, oxygen, and oxygen still has its extra pairs. Eventually, this is going to lead to you writing chemical formulas like this. Okay? Okay. Let's say that louder. I can't hardly hear you. Oh, on this part right here? That's a good question. Riley says, why didn't you write any of the dots around magnesium? When we look at magnesium's Lewis structure here, we don't have any paired electrons on the outside. So these dots of magnesium that are there are actually kind of at the end of the bonds. So those lines, like we did in our drawing, are connecting the 2 electrons. So we've shown them within the bonds. That's a good question, Riley. Does that make sense? Need some head shaking or some thumbs up? Okay, good. How many of you drink water on a regular basis? It's good, nice and healthy for you, right? You guys know what the formula for water is? Anybody remember or anybody know? Oh, we say H2O, right? Ever wonder why we say H2O? You probably know. All right, so we've got, she said it's 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. Look at these Lewis structures for those elements. Why does it have to be 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen? I see some of you looking like you know, but you can... Okay, let's look at it. If hydrogen has a lonely electron here, on both of these hydrogens, and oxygen has 2 lonely electrons, what's going to happen there? These guys are going to become buddies. And then this one here, there we go, that's better. Then these guys are going to become buddies. And we have water. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw that one in our notebook too. Because sometimes you need more than one atom of a certain element. To satisfy, to fill up all of the empty spaces. So we'll say we had hydrogen, we had oxygen, and we had another hydrogen. So when we show the buddies, this electron is going to be buddies there. Now, how are we going to do this? How are we going to show how many lines are between the first hydrogen and oxygen? 1. How many lines are between the oxygen and the next hydrogen? Just 1. So what we're going to do to show, we're going to say, shoot. Now, when you have something like this, you could also draw it. You have options. Because this kind of shows, remember when we had it laid out, kind of shows the shape of the molecule a little bit better. I'll get to that in a little while, but so then when we write that, you could write it, but how do we normally write it? What did you guys say earlier? We say H2O. Where does that 2 come from? It's called a subscript. Where does that come from? Why do we put a 2 there when we look at what we know, what we discovered about water? Go ahead. To simplify it, absolutely. We don't like to write more than we have to. So if we know there's 2 H's, we can put that subscript there, and it shows us that we have 2 hydrogens. And we don't have a subscript here, so we just have 1 oxygen. Okay, give me a thumbs up if that makes perfect sense. You got it, you're good. All right, good. Mostly all thumbs up. So